Let's go over the steps to a penetration engagement. This is going to be a broad scope video defining general concepts. Specifics will be covered in other videos. I made this flowchart and will begin to describe it. First up, we have Osint. This stands for Open Source Intelligence, but that definition doesn't really mean anything. Basically, what it is cyberstalking. This is your research that you do on your target before even thinking of poking at the front door. Just cyberstalk the shit out of them. Look for employees that work there. What are their names? Those could be usernames. How often have you seen last name.firstname username configurations? Keep stalking. Find their Facebook. Find their LinkedIn. Find their dog's name. That could be a password. Do they really like skiing in Aspen? Maybe that's a password. Put all this information into a usernames list and passwords list so you have it ready to brute force into something later. Keep stalking. The next phase is enumeration. This is the point at which we poke at the network. Enumeration means looking for attack vectors. Checking for open ports, checking version numbers, checking if anonymous login on various services is allowed, checking everything. Extracting data, like usernames, machine names, and network resources. How can we do this? Well, the first tool is Nmap. Nmap scans for open ports on a single host or subnet. This is required. This is your first step. The next phase is the foothold. This is when you have successfully leveraged some vulnerability in the system or network. This could be actively using an exploit, or possibly just abusing some misconfiguration or weak password. This could be a user account or web shell. From there, we try and escalate privileges. What we are trying to do here is gain elevated access to resources that are normally protected from an application or user. Basically, we are talking about vertical privilege escalation. The goal is to use your foothold to gain access to a further vulnerability that allows you to gain that elevated access. This could be an admin account, a root shell, or just the ability to run commands as sudo or admin through a misconfigured user script or something like that. Finally, we have post-exploitation. This is what you do once you have root or admin privileges on the system. This is when you try to establish what's called persistence. The goal here is to create a way to come back later, perhaps through downgrading a service to a vulnerable version. The point is that maybe there is nothing useful here now, but there will be in the future. Perhaps you want to get in before a patch. A target's usefulness is not always immediately apparent. This is also when you clean up. Remove anything you might have stored on the system, clear logs, delete users you created, or change passwords back to their original state. And actually, finally, we have documentation, mitigation, and recommendation. This is when you take all of your findings and make a detailed report. Your report should include every vulnerability you found, the severity of the risk, and your recommendation to fix the problem. Oftentimes, this will be to install a patch or update, to require more robust passwords or multi-factor authentication, or to use a more secure application. Your report should include screenshots, commands you used, credentials you found, data you looted, perhaps a network diagram and a kill chain. The purpose of this is to outline a plan to protect enterprise assets, both domestic and foreign, from possible cyber attacks from both criminals and nation states.